back here to the Maturity Project. I'm your host, Chad Ever Broshears. To some, if you know, you know. Chad Ever Broshears to the Maturity, and it's a Maturity Project. So I've had a great recording over the weekend. I did this with Joey, or Joe, and we talked about a lot of stuff, but things that came up during that conversation definitely stood out for me. And if you haven't had a chance to watch it, we did two different episodes back to back, really just a dinner and a couple of drinks separating the two. And it was to talk about, we had a subject, we went through a few things. We hit all 8 areas of maturity. And then we got into the second go round of all 8 areas of maturity, but under the influence, and to see how things shifted in that conversation. Different insights. Did we think differently? Did we feel like we've gone back on our belief? Did we expand on it? Did we go another direction? A lot of different ways of looking at different subjects, really probing into things. And what I get when I talk to people is, a lot of people try to play life too perfect. And I'm not saying Joe does. I mean, I guess we all do in our own way at times. As an example, like with me, if I get into a position where I don't know much about something specific, like get into a new job, skill sets aren't quite there yet, I've got to learn and develop. I have gotten into the practice of shutting up. They say you got 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them accordingly. I've started doing that. Just shut up, Chad. Listen. Even whenever it's a subject, that I know really well. That doesn't mean that I should take the limelight away from somebody else because I know it really well. No, there's times in the conversation where that builds rapport and it builds confidence in the other person for them to be heard over what they're going through. There's also the dynamics of everything as far as the requests. The actual request of each individual, like what they're looking for, what they're after, the request of the environment and what the situation is calling for that needs to be taken on. And there's a good chance that that person has had exposure to something you haven't. So just let them talk. If you're, strapped, quite a bit about this particular job or whatever the requirement is, but then to let them, hey, look at this, it just kind of helps you move along faster. But the problem with assuming somebody knows something is that it's all of the details about that thing now stand a chance of being omitted in the conversation moving forward with the expectation that you understand and know all of those details that they do. I've been involved in a lot of stuff in my life, and I can tell you that I love it when I discover there's something else that I didn't know or don't know, because it gives me an opportunity to grow. Love it. And I find that whenever I decide to 2 ears and 1 mouth to go that route, it really does help out learning. I get to go on a new adventure of information. And it's increased my bandwidth of understanding things by doing it. So the conversation with, like sitting in that curiosity for me is like, we can talk about physical maturity. Absolutely. And Joey and I have a bit of a background in physical maturity. We can talk about it. And we can say, oh yeah, well, I already know that. Well, there's some problems already knowing that. The physical world, especially when it comes to exercise sciences, there is a lot of different methods to condition the body, and there's a lot of differences in the bodies that make you have to create new methods to work with everyone. Some people, they lose weight easy, or they're really challenged to lose weight. Some people build muscle easy. Some people it's challenged to build muscle. Some people have birth defects or something that has them being somewhat in some degree of abnormal. It's outside of normalcy. There's a lot of different things when it comes to that if you go, oh, I got it, well, hell, you're probably going to sit there for a long time going, I got this, I know this, I understand this. That shuts down the mind. So the curiosities that I have is like in that conversation, I went over the physical body. We talked about that a bit. We talked about community and made it very relatable for the conversation between Hay and I, and then also our community, to the people who will watch. We talked about the cognitive side of knowledge, or what knowledge is and how to mature for cognitive levels. So the cognitive maturity, emotions, and the challenges that emotions present because we're inundated with cognitive maturity to an isolated direction. So it's like specialists and stuff like that. But you can learn broad spectrum as well, which is ideal for adaptability. But the specialty thing is what everybody's falling in love with. Expert at something. So cognitive maturity. Emotional maturity does not have that many mentors within it. More people abandon others in times of emotional dire situations. Just don't know what to do with them. I don't know how to handle this. Well, there's a big problem with that, because now we have a vacancy for guidance and for mentorship. And then we just go through life with varying degrees of emotional maturity that can be incredibly disruptive, that will rob you of the fulfillment of life because you're not guided in a way that really makes you mature in it. Finance. How many people are challenged in finance? There's a great deal of people that their month is going on, but their money has run out. They've got bills that need to be paid, and they've got days left to the month, and it's just not feasible to make it work without just accumulating more debt. Being late on your bill and then getting late fees, and let that turn into whatever it does for your credit. So therefore, when you go to buy something, you have a low credit score. Your interest rates are higher, so you have to pay a higher premium so that you can offset the costs. And companies that loan money do this to mitigate risk. If you're unlikely to pay for the thing that you got because your credit score is low, because your history shows that you don't have timely payments, so that companies could rely on, so they can recoup that money, so they can loan it again. They're in the loaning money business. They have to recoup it. It's not printed just for them. It's it's accumulated, and they turn themselves into their own bank. It's a financial institute. We've got business, and that's not the sole part of finance, by the way. It's just I went to another avenue than I have in the other ones. But yet, that's all inside of financial maturity. And an individual that has poor financial maturity show up as low credit scores, high interest rates. And that includes, by the way, your interest score. Your interest rates do actually affect your car insurance, and you have to pay more for that too. So it's pretty interesting when you look at it as, well, why not mature ourselves? And I would say the majority of people don't mature themselves in finance because they have an emotional, a crippling aspect associated with their emotions. And it could be that money is just the thing that they do to just distract themselves from something else in their life. So they spend, because that's the thing. They spend money. Shopaholic, stuff like that. So maturity of money, business, like how do you navigate through business and how do you mature in it? A lot of it, again, is to sit back, keep your mouth closed, and listen. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Use them appropriately. I like to actually get to a point, since I did start earlier talking about when I'm doing something that I'm unfamiliar with, I very often will be quiet and just listen and observe. And people take that for a lack of aptitude, which is true at the moment. It's a lack of aptitude because I'm trying to learn. I'm working on learning. And I'm not contaminating the environment for my learning by interacting and distracting myself or whoever's teaching. Because you can easily get started in a sticky conversation that would not occur if you don't talk. And sticky conversations are the kind that when you get into them, it's one that's not easy to break away from it. And there's a drawing inclination. There's a drawing urge to get people to go back to that story. It almost feels like an addiction kind of thing. Those are sticky conversations. They're great to have if you just want to, share the gift of gab with somebody. But when you're learning, it's not appropriate because it's more likely to distract the lesson. Unless that learning is exactly dealing with that particular trait in people. So, yeah, it's fascinating. So business, you can climb that ladder of success. You can start your own thing. The beautiful thing is we live in a country that you have that right and ability to do it. You aren't told by the government what jobs you can or cannot have unless there's a specialty thing that has a regulation around it. Like, there are some of those out there, working for government organizations to require specific things on, at times, working in a nuclear facility. You got to have clearance levels that allow you to get in there. But that's so that you don't cause harm. But other than that, we have a beautiful country. You can build all kinds of stuff. Entrepreneurship is so incredibly robust in the country, in America. It's the come up with something that works in the economy. So it's where you belong, and how do you develop yourself into becoming that person that you really feel this calling for. Business is a beautiful avenue to find expression and satisfaction in life, as long as you know how to create the right balance when you're dealing with it and you're going through what you need to go through. So yeah, that's a beautiful thing about it. So that's the business side. We talked about sexuality and what sexuality actually is, because that's another one of the areas of maturity. And my God, man. Well, I'm back after a little interruption there, but I got to get back to that actually, so I'm going to have to close up the video. So sexuality has its own piece of, and it's actually a huge part of why we exist the way that we do, and it's a maturity factor. And then spirituality, the last of them, that's purpose, really. It's not religion. We talked a bit about religion, and purpose is what spirituality is with the maturity program, maturity project, is that's part of it. Purpose drives us. We talked about what it's like whenever you don't have purpose and what it looks like and how people interact that don't have it. So as far as that goes, we went through quite a bit. I would say go ahead and watch that one. Comment in the comment section for this one. This is more of kind of a recap for the videos over the weekend. But go to the video over the weekend. It's with Joe DePallo. I never say it right, by the way. You'll actually find that out if you watch the video. You'll hear me talking about that with him and him giving me that look of, come on, dude, you've known me for how long now? He's such a great guy. He's got a great story to tell, beautiful thing to listen to. And we do discuss all of these areas. So when you get time, go ahead and take a listen. It comes out it's 2 videos. They're an hour and 45 minutes roughly each. And we talk about a lot. I do drop some F-bombs. So be ready for it. It is me under the influence a bit. Not so much Joey, but he did drink a little. But he's just got where he's at right now in life. Might didn't go too far. But I sure enjoyed myself. So, all right. Till next time. I'm your host, Chad Everett Broshears, or Sir Chad Everett Broshears to some. If you know, you know. And this is a maturity project. Share this video with people in your life you want to break the ice with. And I know this is a recap, but hey, you never know. This could be enough of a conversation piece that really does open that doorway to make a very meaningful conversation. Now, we have got a world calling for us to address it. For people that really want to live with purpose, the spirituality of it, for those people, this world is calling. But we got to work on ourselves first, because the path to hell is paved with good intentions. And right now, our society is building a super highway to get us there. So be the difference, make a change. Join me in this project. Until next time, catch you later. See ya. Don't forget, comment in the comment section. Tell me what you got out of this, and like the video to help me with the algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe. All right, see ya.